People don't realize the United States, we're profitable 40 to $60 a barrel. Russia and Saudi Arabia are not. And we're the idiots that let them now make money on energy, where we could have sat at 40 to $60 and just keep driving domestic production and driving technology and but anyway, I'm on a horse now. But
well, that's not very global agenda there, Bob. You sound so nationalist. You're not allowed to do that. We're in a global agenda. How dare you? Good afternoon, everyone. Bob Kudla is joining me today, tradelikeagenius.com. Now, if you'd even watched our interview from last month, how many things have come to fruition in just these last 30 days that we were talking about? So as we look out through media headlines across the blogosphere, and I was reading one today, global summer of starvation is what they're going to term this. And we've seen a lot of countries get into the panic mode, knowing that their governments will be toppled if they do not keep food resources in their borders. So, looking out, we could look for food nationalism or resource nationalism, where things will not be exported. The reprogramming of pumps across the U.S. for $10 or 4-digit gasoline just shows where they're already in companies are intending for prices to move to. Then how that's going to curtail the entire economy as we go into depleted crop yields based on non-availability of fertilizers, farmers taking prevent plant because it was too expensive to plant or they didn't have the actual farm inputs to get it in the ground. The intention versus what's really happening is now very stark. We're setting up to something we haven't seen. I'm not even going to say in multi-generation, it'd be more than multi-century. And it's just going to start spiraling from here. So, Bob, I appreciate you joining me. And as always, I'm trying to pick your brain for ideas as we move through, as well as everybody watching, so they can get a glimpse on how our society and world is moving economically. But that is also the next step up for the society, how it's going to move and how people will behave. Probably not in a very nice, polite way this time. When it comes to your food and your children starving, your politeness is probably going to be the first thing that goes out the door. But anyway, Bob, thanks for joining.
And, like I said, natural gas, you mentioned silver, we'll talk silver in a second, but to me, the areas that you want to focus on, natural gas, you want to own silver, you want to own energy. Now you want to own propane, liquid petroleum products. Absolutely. That wasn't on my radar 2 years ago. I own a bunch of it now. And then the food processing companies, you want to be in the supply chain. And then on the commodity level, you don't have to be a futures trader. You can own these ETFs, wheat, corn, soybeans. And then you'll be able to manage your position. And then if we're in an inflationary environment, you want to own energy. If we slip into deflation, you're going to own, believe it or not, you want to own bonds. Keep your life simple, and you're going to out earn your cost of living increases. And then you'll be in a position with less stress. And you don't need a whole lot of money to do this kind of stuff. So look at the moves we had in uranium, 25% move in 2 weeks. If you just follow the rhythm of these trades, you're going to be able to make a lot of money fast and then hop off and then look for the next opportunity in the same space. So we certainly can help you with that.
Because that's one thing, these markets are going to continue to trade all the way through the tumultuous times, and again, I've always said this is one of the biggest opportunities in human history, because there's going to be more needs that are going to arise during this time to solve the problems of this time. But at the same time, if you can look out into the future, just a sliver, and you can see where the problems will be focused, that's exactly what Bob's talking about here and what we're both seeing moving along. So 2023 is going to be a completely different animal than what we're seeing now. So, it's good to talk about what's coming up to this point through the harvest season, how people's minds might react. Russia's really put us in a corner, so they're going to be causing civil unrest and hunger. And a lot of people go to the streets, which is even more, I guess, detrimental for a government, because it's just different than having an army move somewhere. Now you got your own citizens fighting against a destabilization platform there. But 2023 is going to unravel in a completely different fashion once the awareness of people needing to be more self-sufficient. And the reason I bring that up is silver. And I talked to a lot of people who are prepping out, getting ready for this, holding on to the metals there. So, Defense Authorization Act using a lot of silver in solar panels and green tech, and then also silver for tradables, barterables during a scenario that could be envisioned if there's some sort of banking holiday, or if things are revalued, or something zeros lopped off the currency, that piece of silver is still going to have its value. So what are you thinking from here through 23?
Yeah, so the Fed has to stop raising interest rates for silver to really take off. Although it stopped going down, and we took some positions in GOLD, which is Barrick Gold, GDXJ, and we got our first buy signal in SLV for a long, long time. So I own personally in my long-term portfolio, own Hecla. And the reason why I own Hecla, I'm a United States citizen. They have most of their mines in the US. And I want to own things that are close to my legal system. Whether I trust my government or not.
Let me stop for a second. What do you think about nationalization of mines in a national emergency, and you own those mines? Do you think that those mines could be nationalized?
Not in the United States. They're going to do this defense authorization, execute whatever it is called, to force them to produce. You may get a situation where, but Congress has to approve it. Biden just can't declare an emergency and start doing price controls all over the place. There'll be a lot of lawsuits on that. They'll have to justify it. But yeah, look, you're going to see pressure. You're already hearing people screaming about we need windfall profit taxes on energy producers. So yeah, I would start seeing it. Food will be the one that people will be mostly interested in. Silver is a little bit like, how does that connect with food? But food prices, you're going to see companies like Pilgrim's Pride getting dragged up in front of Congress saying, hey, the cost of your product went up 30%. Why are you doubling the cost of food? You're taking advantage of people. People who can't afford it, they're going to starve. We're going to engage legislatively. So I think you'll see that in food. I don't think you'll see it in the miners so much. You see what I think is happening. So the Trump protected, created the strategic metals thing. Biden's now taken the next step forward, which I fully support. We got to protect our domestic industries here, so people don't suck us dry. And I think you're going to see other countries going to go tit for tat, because people are starting to understand now, saying, oh, shoot, Europe and the United States China have been sucking our countries dry. We have nothing to show for it. So you're going to start seeing more nationalization to mines outside of what I call the big five, what do you call it? The big I, what is the Five Eyes countries, right? So, and I think you'll see Argentina will do it too, because they're chronically in debt. They'll probably nationalize mines there. And but United States, Canada, look, keep your money in United States, Canada, Australia. Look, I'm in my backyard. I already replaced 15% of my grocery purchases, and I have a small yard. You'll start seeing that multiplied, across the board here, as people will start saying, I have to do more myself. I have a neighbor now that has 6 chickens. He doesn't buy eggs anymore, and so you're going to see more and more of that kind of stuff, and where people are going to try to control their own personal supply chains, which is a great idea, and forget Trade Genius trying to pitch my services kind of stuff, and you talking about Grant Sullivan. There's tremendous opportunities here. If I was 25 again, food tech is where I'd be knee deep into food tech. There's going to be millions are going to be made in food tech, and not to plug anywhere else to go, but if you just go out onto YouTube and just look at what the Israelis and the Dutch and the US is doing in terms of the technologies that are being created, are mind blowing. You're basically climate independent for a lot of food now, and so I think you're going to see more and more of those opportunities, and I think people need to kind of open their horizons a little bit. And plus, the fact is, maybe it'll get you out of the city, where the cities are going to be pretty unsafe. I'm going to go look at, they're stealing stuff now to sell on the streets. Wait till they start stealing food, and then the food trucks just won't come in, and you're going to see massive exodus out of these cities. So just remember, just draw a circle 180 miles around any city center. You want to be outside of all those, and that's basically getting your car to and back if you're going to go try to rob and pillage, right? So if you're outside that area, they're not going to be able to rob and pillage you if the stuff hits the fan. But hey, I got one more for you. I know you know I always like to jump around, but
Yeah.
if you look at Cobalt Company in Canada, there's
Yeah.
some OTC companies out there. I think it's CCWOF. I own a little bit of it. It's a cobalt company. I think it's cobalt and uranium in the I think it's either not PEI, but it's in Nova Scotia. It's in that northeast, one of those northeastern provinces. A
Nunavut
lot.
or something. Yeah, there's that whole area up there. And oh, that was the last glaciation point of the what we consider the Wisconsin glaciation point, was right up there in the Nunavut Island area. So the side bit of info there. So keep going. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, no, it's I think and look, Canada can't survive without selling their resources. So, you're going to look for the opportunities. I mean, I own Alaska Uranium. That's a good company. It's an OTC company. You got to have a few of these sprinkled in your portfolio, because you never know when you're going to wake up one day and it's going to be up 10x. Especially when some big guy comes in and just tries to take the company out. They're going to have to pay massive premiums for these companies. So cobalt's definitely going to be needed. I own lithium. I own only a lithium mine in the United States. Its stock is called LAC. I have it tucked away. Okay, and so those are the companies you want to own. Don't want to screw around with tech and all that garbage. You want to own things that hurt when you drop it. Okay, and that people will need when they're starving. Okay,
That means
they're
like a
not
piece of metal on your toe. Ouch. You really are talking about physical metals, because moving this green agenda, they're going to need metals. They're going to need an enormous amount of metals if they're going to really push it. I mean, you could probably do a whole show on just listing the metals from A to Z that are going to be needed in this conversion just to green tech.
Well, why don't we do that? Maybe let's do July. We'll just walk through the charts. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, and just focus it on metals and grains, and yeah, things that you put in your belly that can keep a society moving forward. But at the same time, that set of meetings that was going on in Davos, Switzerland, they had already said that there was over $100 trillion already pledged to this green conversion as of this year in financing. So this is not going away. It is going to continue in its journey down, however far it needs to go. But there's a lot of metals that are going to be involved in this, and most of them are not above ground right now at the level they need to get us even 5% of the way down to where they envision this 100% renewable energy world that we're going to be living in. So between there, that's going to be a long journey, and there's going to be a lot of companies that are going to benefit from that.
Yeah, look, you can only fight it so much. Unless you're overtly doing something immoral, it's okay to invest in these companies, okay? Unless you know what they're producing is an immoral product. But whether you agree or disagree with renewable energy or the Green New Deal, I think it's coming regardless. I think there's probably a very real concern about, do we have enough fossil or petroleum-based fuels going forward? So it's legitimate to look at these things. It's illegitimate the way they're going about doing it, but definitely we're leaning that way. Look, I just saw a boat totally 100% solar. Okay. I see you're going to start seeing these things come up. I've seen all the harbor cruising boats now are basically battery solar, no problems. And now you're seeing this incredible wind technology with kites. You've seen the kite sailing on these massive 14 to 15% reduction. See, we just need to apply our engineers to these problems, and you're gonna be able to reduce the cost of energy in the supply chain. If government gets involved and they just subsidize the wrong crap for the politically connected, versus letting these prices go where they go normally, and allow technology to create cheaper and cheaper. And that's what happened when Trump was in. We were basically taking advantage of the efficiencies that were coming into it, and he just added supply to that and created a basically a Goldilocks scenario around between $40 and $60 a barrel. And so people don't realize, United States, we're profitable $40 to $60 a barrel. Russia and Saudi Arabia are not. And we're the idiots that let them now make money on energy. where we could have sat at $40 to $60 and just keep driving, domestic production and driving technology but anyway, I'm on a horse now. But
well, that's not very global agenda there, Bob. You sound so nationalist. You're not allowed to do that. We're in a global agenda. How dare you?
Yeah, well, I think what's going to happen is that the globalists are causing the national agenda to come forward. It's so funny. They did the League of Nations, and what did we get? We got World War II, right? They do the UN, and what do we have? 50 years of conflicts all around the world. Now there's WEFs coming in, and we're getting populist governments going to be populating throughout the whole United States. I think it's whatever they call it, the fourth turning. I think it's all part of it. So, we're getting tribal, okay? And these long supply chains to benefit some rich dude somewhere else is not going to fly when people are like saying, hey, you know what? That corn's not leaving Pennsylvania, okay? It better be going in my belly, or it better be going into my cow or pig or chicken or egg, okay? And then I'll buy it here versus you shipping it all the way to China and then have me pay twice as much for the food because you just sent it over there on a sweetheart deal. So I think you're going to see a lot more of that kind of stuff. And then I got to run. I can't believe the time always flies with you, Dave. But check us out. Trade with us. We're doing
TradeGeniusAcademy.com or TradeLikeAGenius.com. Promo code Father's Day, one word.
The bundle is 65% off. We trade stocks. We trade crypto. We trade the futures markets. We'll even teach you how to do this stuff. We have algorithms. You have access to them. So it's a good system. You're making money. I'm happy to show you guys the system next month. I think you'll like it. And we'll walk through all the commodity companies. I'll show you some good dividend paying companies. And look, you can stay ahead of this beast. Okay. And, be one of the winners out of this. Don't be one of the victims. And you don't need a whole lot of money to trade. And we'll show you how to do it. And as Dave will tell you, I'm not a Lambo guy. I don't promise you riches, but I definitely will keep you ahead of the game and put you in a situation where you'll have life lessons and skills to be able to independently take care of your family.
And that's the way we need to think, bringing it back again, taking care of our families in a local fashion where everybody benefits, because humanity is working together versus fighting each other. And again, this whole top-down approach of million-mile delivery chains, not going to work. And the changing magnetic field of the sun might also have some effects on how our brain is also behaving and perception of reality. So you're going to see a lot of changes coming through. But Bob, thanks for the info. I got a whole note list here as you were talking. And I do thank you for sharing your ideas today. And everybody out there, I'll put the link in the description box below so you can just go click and go. You don't have to type anything into your browser bar, make it that much easier. Please visit TradeLikeAGenius.com, see what Bob has over there. And until next month, do your own research. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.